Guys, welcome to Under the Table. So Alizhan is asking for 50,000 for a match against Dadikyan. Do you find it reasonable? Someone posted this screenshot of his conversation and his reason on why he demanded for 50k on the subreddit. Let's discuss on whether is it reasonable or not. So yeah, this is a screenshot from Alizhan. So he said, let's be real. Rumors and talk are just noise. I speak from facts, experience and logic. I have 0 losses. Top athletes refuse to face me, so I only get to compete once or twice a year. But to be ready, I have to stay in top shape all year round. This is not a hobby, it's a profession, and being at the top requires investments. I totally agree in this matter is that he's a full-time arm wrestler, and it's not people may oversee the fact that he has to be in shape all year round to be ready for a match and to be top tier elite shape. He has to eat a lot, train a lot. It's not just to pay for his nutrition, for his work, right? His work in the gym, he work out so consistently for his performance on the table. So, and it's his full-time job. So nutrition alone, he stated 1.5 to 1.8k per month. Total monthly expenses 4.5 to 5. I think this includes like rental, having to take care of his children, and he also running like a QOL arm wrestling handle business. So I think that is like including the expenses. So that's around 60k a year just to stay ready. A lot of people on Reddit online are saying that he lives in Kazakhstan. I can guarantee you he doesn't spend almost 2k on food. What the hell? I think nutrition is just a simpler word for pancake, basically steroids and supplements, right? So if I start training and competing, I shouldn't be working a regular job. I need to focus fully on training, recovery and performance. That's why my fee is not too much. It's reasonable. It simply covers my costs and keep me something the game. If I get injured, who is gonna pay for that? So what he's saying is that he's a full-time arm wrestler and he needs to focus on training, recovery and being able to perform on the table. He's not able to get a regular full-time job, and in that regards, he should be compensated more because he's consistently keeping in shape. And those cost a lot of money, which I agree, right? Nutrition, supplements and everything costs a lot. Not to mention he has a family. He's not just taking care of himself. So in that respect, I do agree that he should be compensated more. And not just Alizhan himself. I think arm wrestling in general. If arm wrestling wants to be a bigger sport, they should be compensated more so that they can be in top shape. They don't have to work a regular job and they can just focus on arm wrestling, which some of the athletes are doing. At the top requires investment, which I agree, right? You have to invest a lot in your time, you have to sacrifice the family. And he also mentioned that if he gets injured, he's gonna pay out of his pocket. So there's also like the risk pay that is involved. So in that sense, his 50k is also including like the risk, right? The risk he's willing to take for a match. And also the fact that he only competes once or twice a year. So the compensation or the amount of money he gets from the match should be enough to cover his entire year of living expenses. Not to mention the fact that you don't want to just have the bare minimum, right? I can understand from an athlete or just a human perspective, you want to be compensated a little bit more so you can live even better, a better life. So 50k is a lot of money, right? To put it into perspective, how much is 50k for East versus West? Let's look at how much they earn. First time invites or less experienced athletes are paid 1 to 3k. You have to take into account that accommodation, food and everything are paid. You are getting exposure as well. More popular or top rank can earn more, up to 10k per match. And reportedly, I saw some podcasts that Vitaly takes about 20k per match. Devon Larratt on some of his matches can get up to 100k, not sure if that's true. This Redditor said that the numbers are not public. Yeah, that's why it's very difficult to find out how much the athletes are earning. And he believes that Devon versus Levon was 40k each per athlete. Yeah, so you can see in that perspective, most of the athletes if you're not Devon Lorette, you're not Levon, you're not superstars of arm wrestling, you're getting maybe 10 to 20k for Vitalis and those other elite arm wrestlers. A superstar in arm wrestling, you not just have to arm wrestle well. I think Alizhan arm wrestles really well. His matches are fantastic, but you need to be able to sell the match. You need to be able to sell the pay-per-view. And for me personally, I wouldn't buy a pay-per-view just for Alizhan match. Yes, I would want to watch his match, but I wouldn't buy a pay-per-view match just for Alizhan. I can wait and just watch YouTube replay. Whereas if I see a Devon Lorette, I see a Levon, I see Dennis, or I see Ermax, I would want to buy the pay-per-view. Alizhan wants to be paid 50k, which is like a superstar arm wrestler level kind of pay. You need to have the personality to back it up. Personality like Devon Lorette, Levon, Michael Todd, those arm wrestlers have personality with good arm wrestling ability. I think one of the reasons why Alizhan is not at that superstar level is because he doesn't speak English, and language barrier is very difficult to understand his personality, understand his intention. So when we watch Alizhan, it's just to watch him arm wrestle possible. But right now, 50k is a lot if you look at like earnings from other athletes. Alizhan match wouldn't really drive pay-per-view sales. It's difficult to pay 50k to Alizhan just for a single match when you can pay 50k for 2 athletes. So do I think that Alizhan is asking too much, and is he greedy? Well, Alizhan was invited to a local event, I think to Vietnam or some other Asia country, I can't remember. I remember I saw a screenshot of like the private message, I couldn't find it. So anyways, someone in my country tried to invite Alizhan over. He demanded a high sum just to appear, and an even more ridiculous amount to compete. And that's a local event. I imagine his request fee for a world title match is even higher. He's already quite wealthy, so I guess he doesn't need the little prize money. He has a successful real estate business along with arm wrestling equipment business. I think this is true because I saw like a screenshot, can't find it. Is that Alizhan, in order for him to make appearance, is like 5k or something with accommodation, food, everything. And then in order for him to compete in a local event, right? Local event, not even world level event. People that are not even close to Alizhan level. And to compete in a local event, I remember he requested for like 20k USD or something like that. And another Redditor replied saying that looks like Alizhan got consumed by his greed. I think that if you look from Alizhan's perspective, yes, you always want to be paid more. I think if you are a top arm wrestler, you train your whole life for this, to be at this level, you want to be paid more. And you have to think about the amount of athletes East versus West is paying per event. If you look at the cards, they have like almost like 20 athletes. If each of them are asking for 50k, that is crazy. That is crazy. Not to mention they have to host the events, they have to pay for the venue, they pay for the food, pay for the crew. Like if you think from an athlete perspective, yes, I want to be paid 50k, but everyone want to be paid as much as they can. But it's just not possible with the current level of arm wrestling. And also with the fact that you are not like a superstar in arm wrestling, you will not be able to sell. So what do you think about Alizhan asking for 50k for his match against Dadikyan? Personally, I think that is a bit too much. If you want to be paid more, or like if your argument is that you only compete once or twice a year, that's why you need to be paid more. And every athlete is competing more regularly because they need the money. And you can't just be saying that because you compete once or twice a year, you should be paid 50k. It is not fair for the other athletes that are competing more regularly. They are taking the risk to compete more regularly. But this matter is very difficult because it depends on who you are defending, right? Or which perspective you are looking at. If you are looking for an athlete, you are looking for Alizhan's perspective, it kind of makes sense to be paid more. But if you are looking from an organizer perspective, it is impossible. That's because it's only reserved for high-end star athletes that are able to drive pay-per-view sales. Alizhan is just not on that level yet. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with Alizhan asking for 50k for a match for Dadikyan? And what do you guys think of like Alizhan asking for 20k going to a local match? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think? If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more arm wrestling content.